Hi, greetings, Supernatural fans. Well, it's that time of year again. That's right, it's time for Supernatural Summer 2026. And this month, we're going to be taking a look at Supernatural Season 6. So let's kick things off with the first episode of Supernatural Season 6, Exile on Main Street. The episode begins with Dean having a nightmare about the events that changed his life forever. He wakes up lying in bed with Lisa Braden and goes about his normal day. Dean has a day job, hangs out with his friends, and seems to have a perfect life. One night, as he leaves the bar after having a drink with his friend Sid, he hears a woman scream. Dean whips out a gun and goes into the building from where the scream came from and finds scratches and blood on the walls. He returns home and searches the police records for a missing persons report, but finds nothing. The next morning, as he travels towards work, he finds similar scratch marks around a house. Dean investigates further and finds sulfur near the doors. His hunter instincts kick in, and he quickly makes his way back to his garage, where his old car and hunting gear are safely stored. Instructing Lisa to take Ben to the movies inside the house, he goes through all his old gear. Dean notices that the lights were flickering and immediately picks up a shotgun. Looking around the room, he doesn't find anything. Suddenly, Azazel shows up and Dean shoots him, but it has no effect. Azazel pins Dean against his car and tries to kill him, until, out of nowhere, Sam shows up and stabs Dean in the chest with a syringe with white fluid inside. Dean passes out and wakes up to find Sam looking over him. Sam tells Dean that he got pulled out of hell and he's trying to figure out who did it. He reveals to Dean that he's been out of hell for nearly a year and he did not come to Dean because he knew that Dean believed the life that he had built. Dean gets extremely upset with Sam and does not agree with Sam's logic. Sam tells Dean that he had been poisoned and that it was not Azazel he had seen but merely a hallucination. Sam tells Dean that he's been hunting with their mom's family, the Campbells. Sam introduces Gwen, Christian, and Mark Campbell to Dean as his third cousins and a distant relative. Samuel Campbell appears and tells Dean that he was the one who brought the family together and that he was pulled out of heaven. Sam and Samuel tell Dean that Jinn were hunting them to take revenge for their fallen brethren. Dean and Sam hurry towards his home where he believes Lisa and Ben are in danger to find that the hunter watching over the house has been killed. Dean and Sam look over the house and find nothing. Lisa and Ben come through the door and Dean hurries them to pack their bags. Dean takes them to Bobby's place where he finds that Bobby knew that Sam was back. Dean tries to tell both of them how horrible his life has been for the past year, knowing that his brother was trapped in a box in hell. But Bobby and Sam tell Dean that his life is as good as a hunter's life can be. Dean tells Lisa that he has to leave them because he thinks their life together wasn't good. Lisa tells Dean that the past 1 year has been the happiest in her life, and that all she ever wanted was a good role model for her son, Ben. Sam, Dean, Samuel, Gwen, Christian, and Mark plan to bathe the Jinn with Sam and Dean, and they return to Lisa's house. Sam tells Dean that the Campbells have been hunting even during the times of the Mayflower, and that hunting is in Dean's blood. Mark informs him that 3 Jinn were on the trees waiting for the brothers to be alone. Sam and Dean stay behind while the other hunters leave. They instruct Sam and Dean to call them as soon as the Jinn show up. Dean notices that his neighbors are choking and immediately rushes towards them with the antidote to the poison that Samuel created. He finds both Sid and his wife dead. Suddenly, a male Jinn grabs and holds him while a female Jinn, the waitress around the bar, comes and passes poison into his system. Meanwhile, Sam is attacked by the third Jinn, who he kills with Dean's golf club. Sam is attacked by the 2 Jinn while Dean hallucinates Azazel killing Lisa. Sam is nearly overpowered when Samuel comes in and stabs the male Jinn. Sam asks Sam to go find Dean while he faces the female Brigada. When they stare each other down, Christian Campbell comes and places a bag over the Jinn and ties her up. Sam instructs him to carry her over to the van before Sam and Dean come back. The next day, Dean tells Sam that he's going back to Lisa and Ben and that he's changed his mind. Sam advises Dean to rethink, as he thinks that Dean will only put them in danger. Dean replies by saying that he's already done that and that he can't leave them alone unprotected. Sam says that he could really use Dean's help because of how Dean rushed out to help Sid and his wife while he himself wouldn't have done that. Sam tells Dean that he cares a lot about people unlike himself. Dean offers Sam his car, but Sam refuses the offer because he's got his own car now. Sam drives off and Dean waves goodbye, not knowing what to say. Aww. So anyway, let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. This episode begins a year after Swan Song. Samuel Campbell was last seen in the beginning. When reading with Sam, Dean wondered if Castiel was behind it but didn't get an answer. was proven right later in The Man Who Would Be King. Dean is still with Lisa since the end of the apocalypse. In Swan Song, Sam tells Dean that after he sacrificed himself to defeat Lucifer, to pray to God Lisa is still enough to let him in. In this episode, Dean says only God knows why they even let him in, implying it was one of the times Castiel talked about of him helping more than they realized. And let's take a look at some trivia. Let's take a look at some trivia. The title of this episode references the Rolling Stones album with the same name. This is the first episode to air when Eric Kripke isn't showrunner. The new showrunner, Sarah Gamble. Frederick Lee returns to play Exile in this opening episode. Mitch Pileggi, the actor who portrays Samuel Campbell, is back in this season. Exile returned as a hallucination of Dean's nightmare after being overdosed by Jin's poison. It appears as not all the Campbell family are not dead and some were all hidden for a reason. This is the third season premiere to feature Exile, and second such occurrence when he is portrayed by Frederick Lee. Dean is wearing his signature leather jacket in this episode. In September 2010, new promo shots were being done for the upcoming season 6. The shoot was in LA and the wardrobe was flown down from Vancouver a few days before and was stolen somewhere along the way. Items taken included one of Castiel's trench coats and Dean's leather jacket. Although the wardrobe had replacements for Castiel's trench coat, Dean's leather jacket was sadly one of a kind. This was the second episode filmed following Weekend at Bobby's, which aired 4th. When Sam introduces Dean to the Campbells, he tells him Christian and Gwen are the third cousins and Mark is their something twice removed. Might be an error, but possums cannot get rabies. Okay then. So that's the first episode of the season. It is pretty interesting, and it does some of the questions that will eventually get answered along the way. So, yeah. So overall, I give Exile on Main Street 4 Impalas out of 5. When I do we to the next episode, 2.5 Men. So, until then, carry on, my wayward sons and daughters.